Hi everybody, the question I have for this week is what is a spiritual journey? We're in the Parsha of Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha meaning, in approximation, leave and go unto yourself or go into yourself. Lech meaning to go, to send out in modern Hebrew. What is a spiritual journey? In the story of Lech Lecha, Abraham is invited by God to Lech Lecha mi'artzecha mi'moladatecha u'mibeit avicha, from three different places: from the place of his birth, from his land, from the place of his birth, and from his father's house. Seemingly, the repetition is confusing repetition, but in some guise or another, what he's being asked to do is to fundamentally shed and fundamentally leave behind everything that he's known before. This is understood in Jewish religion to be the moment at which Abraham finds his own distinct and unique faith in the context of monotheism, in the context of belief in one God, in the context of Jewish journey. It impacts and impinges on us in this week because it's asking us what Jewish journey might look like for us, or even just a religious and spiritual journey might look like for us. What's interesting, as there's always a juxtaposition or a counterposition in our parshiot and in our Jewish learning, is that at the end of the verses that introduce Abraham's journey, Abraham's leaving of his father's house, leaving of his native land, leaving of the place of his birth, there is this moment where he builds an altar. And the building of an altar, in some way or another, is representative also of his own knowledge of religious expression, which perhaps came prior to his finding Jewish life or finding new spiritual direction, in the sense that Abraham would have only been able to express his belief, commitment, love of God in the form of the ancient mode of animal sacrifice, because it was in some way or other represented in the life that he knew before. That's the juxtaposition of this week's Parsha. The juxtaposition of this week's Parsha is between that which we leave behind and that which we take with us. That's the Torah that I wanted to teach this week. When we go out on a new journey, it's absolutely tempting and almost seductive to leave behind everything. When I taught my Parsha class this week, Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m., you're invited. When I taught my Parsha class this week, I was talking about arriving in a new place. I've lived in Canada and Belgium and Israel and the States. When you arrive in a new place, you can be anybody you want to be. Suddenly you're given this new life of life. Nobody knows you. Nobody knows your history. And so it's seductive. There's something amazing about having that kind of clean slate that you would never otherwise get in your life. At the same time, we are necessarily informed by our own life experience, the language we take with us, the accent that we have, what we look like. There are aspects of our lives that we can't change or transform. So that's the Torah of this week, is about being again in stages of the new year. We're in the second month of the year after this beautiful Rosh Hashanah, which is in itself, it's a wiping of the slate, a cleaning of the slate, a beginning again. And the question of all of our Jewish journeys and all of our religious and spiritual journeys is, how much do we take with us and how much do we leave behind? How much do we crave for absolute and total rejuvenation, refreshment, and fresh start? And how much must we also acknowledge that we are who we are, and we are the people who carry our accent, our looks, our scars, our parents' traditions, whatever our relationship was with them, and strive with that middle path of carving out both carving out that which we already have, that which we already inherited, that which we already carry, but also taking with us the possibility of newness and refreshment and chidush, newness and new learning. Shabbat Shalom. Wishing everybody well. As I said before, join us for our Parsha class, 7:30 Wednesday. The link is in my LinkTree. And also, if you want to be a patron, somebody who supports this work, both of making videos and of teaching Parsha each week, then please also be in contact or log on to my patron page. Shabbat Shalom, big love. Please let me know how you find these videos, share and post. Big love.